What's up, guys? Recruiting is no joke live. We're here at Unleash at the Fountain booth, and I'm here with a past podcast guest.
This is true.
But you're different now, so there's been some changes. So Mark Smith from Medtronic, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Joel. Yeah.
So how's Vegas for you right now?
Vegas is good.
Yeah.
Thanks for commenting. I'm a new man.
New man.
Tell
us what's been going on.
Yeah. Well, first off, great to be here. Thank you to you for inviting me and to be at the Fountain booth.
It's beautiful.
I'm expecting some amazing swag at
Did
some
you get
point.
coffee?
No, I wasn't so much of a diva, but I should have asked for one. But yeah, with my face on the front, that'd be great. So first time in Vegas.
Okay. Oh wow.
First time at Unleash as well.
Lots of firsts.
In the past, I've been very caring and loving and let my team have the spoils. But this time, I'm being selfish.
Love it.
And I'm coming in. So that's great. And Vegas has been fun. What's changed with me?
Yeah. So what's new?
Minnesota, moved to from Chicago. Last time we spoke, I was on the podcast in my home in Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
So today, it's closed. Money's hitting
done.
the bank. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's good. And then next week, my wife and I are purchasing a home in Minnesota. And as you know, some others won't, but I moved to Medtronic 6 months ago.
Medtronic, I've heard of them.
Which is really cool. Yeah, I hadn't.
Really? That's an employer branding. That's the employer branding team.
And that is my responsibility. Yeah, so I kind of a little bit, but I wasn't sure what they did. And but 75 years old, 105,000 employees, about 40,000 contractors.
So what's target hires for the year? What are we looking at?
Target hires for the year, I think it's varying around the world, but I suspect that with our attrition, our projects, hiring needs, our growth in certain facilities, probably around 10,000 this year. Yeah, still, don't quiz me too much, I'm still getting used to all the number of facilities, the number of hires, but yeah, we're hiring. We're hiring at the moment, but I would say that it's really based on projects, attrition, and growth where we have our demand for our med devices.
Yeah.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, and we were chatting, I think, offline, and we were talking about some of the facility hiring that you're doing. We're looking at like skills-based hiring.
Yeah.
You got a lot of challenge for those hourly frontline workers.
Yeah.
So
that's tough.
And you're talking about your philosophy on skills-based hiring.
Yeah.
So I'd love to kind of dig into that story. There's one specific one which I'm hopefully
I'll ravel that out. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, skills-based hiring. It's something of a growing cliche. So
it's a buzzword right now.
It's definitely a buzzword, and I want to make sure that as we apply it, are we fragmenting it in the way it should be? And so when I think about it, I think of the tasks, but also the experiences that gives rise to what we would call a skill. But when I've been getting involved so one of our facilities in Billerica in Massachusetts, not far from Boston, I've spent a bit of time, probably 3 or 4 times I've been there, and I've been watching how we assemble our products. These are med devices. These are essentially catheters, and we have individuals that do microscopic assembly. So they're using 2 tools. They're often soldering, looping, stuff that is the magnification's crazy. So it's really difficult. You've got to have a steady hand.
What's the someone makes a mistake? What's the risk there? It's going to be.
It's the quality. Yeah. So the product goes through various stages of yield or quality. The quality has to be 100% because these catheters are often going through the human body to conduct surgery on or around the heart. So this is important stuff that we're putting stuff in our body. It's huge. I mean, it was important when I worked in my last companies in terms of quality because the consumer would either eat or smell something. When I think of Kraft Heinz or S.C. Johnson, but here it's in the body. It's got to be 100%. So quality is paramount. But finding people that are very good at 8 hours a day doing that, it takes a lot on the eyes. It requires a huge amount of persistence and focus. And what we've found is, rather than looking at our classical peers like Boston Scientific and others, rather than buy their talent in terms of come and join us or leave them, come to us.
It almost becomes like an auction of talent. And, hey, a couple dollars more here, sign up bonus.
And I feel that's life. But I don't like leading with that. I think it should be on other elements as well. Culture, leadership, the work that you're doing. And I think the good thing is we've got those things, but there's not enough of the skills we need, and the skills we need is microassemblers. So anyway, the the success we've had so far, which is growing, is how do we look at individuals that are not doing that work today within our sector, but actually nail tech salon staff members. So they are all day, very creative, very focused on the detail. Their customer cares about, I guess, the level of number of jewels, or it's been a while since I had a pedicure, but
you can't mess up one of those.
It's got to be it's intense and it's important, but that level of focus and that vigilancy, that just the dexterity of it, it's so important. So we've started to build a campaign, and we're working with other partners in recruitment marketing to understand how can we go viral to capture people that maybe are engravers. It's very similar. Adidas, if they're engraving awards or trophies or gravestones or something. What about watchmakers, or what about seamstress? These types of traditional roles. So that for me is when you're bringing in this almost a skill and experience and dexterity to an environment where they probably have never thought about working in a med tech place, but what we're then trying to talk to them is about, well, what's next? How can you be a trainer or a supervisor, or actually move, once you've done this, moving into what we would call, a salaried role, white collar role. So it's open avenues. Plus we have benefits. A lot of these roles don't tend to do that. So it's exciting that it's exciting that our leaders are open to it. They're not being too traditional. They're one of the senior leaders I'm dealing with for the manufacturing, a guy called Ken. He's super supportive about. Ultimately, he wants a result. He wants output, quality, safety, engagement, the who and the how. He trusts the TA organization.
Yeah, look, so how, you talk about the culture, right? So I think manufacturing, those kind of facilities, how do you even communicate that?
Yeah, culture.
And what do you focus on when you're thinking about that? Because it's different to an office setting or maybe a cold in some ways.
Yeah,
or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard this on different events, the deskless employee. So it's, for traditional salaried employees, it's easier they're on the intranet, they're on Teams or Slack or email, they're in Teams meetings. All those events create this kind of emanation of what is culture. And I think it gets carried. When you're on the line, these are individuals that often, like in that moment in Boston, their main environment is these tools. And so it's what is their ecosystem. So in terms of communicating culture, a lot of it is regular meetings, team briefs at the start, before a shift starts, getting the shift started to make sure the key messages focus on quality-focused conversations. Or it might be, hey, it's someone's birthday, or someone's bought a house, or so there's always. I was actually in Boston last week, and I interrupted one by accident as I was walking through. And I asked what's going on, and they're having their pre-shift team meeting, and they're talking about the important moments. And I think that team briefs helps, and then it's a case of the environment that they're in terms of when they go, because they're often on the line and then they have a break. Or when they're on a break, it's how can you create that culture around them. So it's often around the cafeteria in terms of whether it's digital signage or paper signage. We actually have I actually have a whiteboard where we ask a question every day. We have fun, which is, what would be your number one superpower? And then we're collating this, and we're saying, this was the most common answer. But we're getting people to be. And that for us is about a growth mindset, being creative, being thoughtful, having fun, but listening to them as well. Not just in surveys, which I think are magnificent, but we shouldn't rely on, but listening to them in their feedback, eliciting feedback, and being curious and asking the team in those initial meetings, how was yesterday, how's it going? And really engage. That's what I actually quite like about the manufacturing, because there is that, although there is the less the email, they have slightly more, they have the proximity and the humanity of that, so they can actually read our body language, they can understand the tonality, they've got the before and after meeting piece that I think actually their cultures are really good, but what you tend to find in manufacturing is that there's almost subcultures, because they're really based on the leadership of that facility. So if you're comparing Boston to somewhere in China or UK, Ireland, they're slightly different, but they're the same. Similar enough. Yeah, and it's Medtronic, so they still get certain messages, certain training. Yeah.
No, I love that, and I love. I used to place a lot of client managers, and a lot of times it's client managers that would be out there and interactive with people versus you had the two different types. You had the office type, stay in the office, but we found a lot more demand for just going out there and interacting. And
I love that type of leader.
Yeah, because it's
especially in the plants.
And I think it's just keeping it in perspective too, hey, we're in manufacturing, right? This may be a job long term, but it might not be, and just understanding that and not forcing too much. And say, hey, we're here, but we want, you're changing lives, right? So you're doing things that are actually important.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about the human side, which I love. Like, it's the type of leader you are. What about AI? Like, where are you, talent teams are smaller, everybody's got less money, you got to really think about the tools you're using. So where you see, what are your favorite use cases so far that you've seen?
Yeah, I think, like a lot of organizations, I think we're scratching the surface still. There's so much. I come to an event like this and it fills me up to want to do. I've touched so many notes on this, but so far we're utilizing the various like ChatGPT, Gemini products. We're operating with care and consideration from an ethical perspective. So we have to be very thoughtful about our brand and how we utilize it. But I think from a TA perspective, we have got some freedom to think, how can we use it to optimize, it's a bit classic saying this, but our job ads, our postings, our, what should we be looking for? Asking it questions like an assistant. Like, I've got a new role, manufacturing director, go wild, what's going on out there? And asking it questions, I love how it is evolving to be able to ask it questions, use information and tell me what things I should be looking for. So we're actually using it as something to sound off with. To get Boolean code and text, that's quite useful. To actually ask it, hey, I've got this role, it's easier, rather than typing it yourself, freehand, is actually just say, I've got this role, is this location, this is what I'm looking for, help me create the Boolean code for that, and that's really cool. So I think we've got a lot to do. My vision would be, on the current level of knowledge I have, would be, I'd love to have a TA ChatGPT where the recruiter can use it, rather than go to SharePoint or Teams for all the slides and the decks. Ask it, like, how do I do an intake meeting? What's the Medtronic way? How do I deal with this objection from a candidate? That's, and there's having information there that, I like the idea of it, if it is a brain bug of all the years of what Medtronic is about, that when the response comes through, if we're feeding it information about our culture, our values, our ways, that it will come, it'll come back with the right tonality to say that in line with the Medtronic mindset, and our focus, this is one of our tenets, and bringing that, rather than it being vanilla, I want it to be Medtronic. And also like the idea of a ChatGPT for hiring managers. So hiring manager says, how do I open a rec?
I like that. That's great.
That stuff, and then where do I go from here? Rather than go to the SharePoint and you've got all these decks, and that's when hiring managers lose the will to live. And I think a lot of recruiters do, is when you've got this repository of all the stuff's there, go look for it. I think the thing about AI for me is it's the accessibility on your cell phone to ask it a question and save time. I think for me it's about, the vision for me is not about saving money, replacing people, it's about optimizing the human capital so that those tasks that we respectfully aren't perhaps mundane, but they can be conducted creatively now by AI tech, let them help you, but check it. I think that's the thing, you're responsible for your work, check it. I did something today where it was write a review on one of the speakers, and I actually asked ChatGPT, I put his name in, I says this is what he spoke about, where, and it wrote me a review. I said, can you do it in 109 words? And it did it, and it was great. I just changed a few.
Was it like English accent and everything? Or?
I should have said like a song from the Beatles.
That would be no,
maybe I'll do that later.
I think what I've been hearing is a lot more like young people, right? They're not going to Google anymore.
Yeah.
Meta, they just dropped that AI on Instagram where you can just ask anything.
Yeah.
And that's how people are using it.
I'm using Gemini, but when I go to Google, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to my favorite Gemini before I go to Google search. It's just because when I'm in Google, today I was using ChatGPT 4 just for that, just whatever's there. But you're right, like Google search is actually quite frustrating because it's not getting to the point.
That's what it is. It's that extra step, right?
Yeah.
I see it on social media too. People are just searching answers on social versus Google. So what about with candidates? Because I've been asking people too, obviously we're TA focused, we're recruitment focused, we want to think about a process.
Absolutely.
What do you think about this influx of AI for candidates? I'm thinking auto-apply tools, resume matching.
Yeah.
Good, bad. What do you think?
Yeah. From their side or our side of engaging the candidates, what?
As a whole.
As a whole, yeah.
Does that make things better? I think it makes things a little bit better for them and saving time.
Yeah.
But
from
your perspective.
Yeah, I think that when I think of the domains, there's almost the relationship triangle I always think of is the candidate, the hiring manager, the recruiter. I've mentioned the first two. I think with the recruiter itself, we're implementing a chatbot sort of product, but I want it to be not like a bank. I want, when it just, or Amazon, so it's just like human. I want it to be as original, as authentic as possible to our values and our ethos, our vibe, our tonality. So
just throw some memes in.
Exactly. I love that as well. Giphies. Just being, and actually, I'm talking to one of our recruitment marketing partners about creating our own Giphies. So we've got,
that's cool.
We can play around with us. We're celebrating 75 years this year for the whole year. It's a lovely long celebration. We could create content on that, or we sponsor the Vikings. We sponsor the Minnesota Twin Cities Marathon. The stuff that we can play with, that we do, a lot of what we do is quite serious. Saving lives. These are difficult situations for people. People often don't want to talk about their diabetes, or they've had heart surgery, or these are sensitive moments. So it's not like a consumer brand like the brands I worked with before, that it's easy to build that. But I think with our candidates, I think when it comes to creating products that make accessibility easy, whilst also having as much fun as is appropriate, for the organization. I will be provocative. I think my leaders and my employers knows that I want to push appropriately to so that we become attractive to the best talent. All I want is the best diverse talent to wake up and see Medtronic for a company that changes lives, and not just careers, but for me, it's very fulfilling. 44 years old this year. I know I don't look it, Joe.
I know.
But
22,
thank you.
First time in Vegas, too.
I know, yeah. I've aged a little bit since been in Vegas, but yeah, I think it's about getting us to be well known, and for me, it's very fulfilling to actually be the head of TA for an organization that is making a difference to people. And as I get older, and I see my parents and aunts and uncles getting more frail, and I know it's going to happen to me, that this matters.
After Vegas, it's going to for sure happen.
I think so, yeah.
Well, Mark, it's been great in real life. I mean, it's
I know.
amazing. That's why I love virtual.
You're not AI, are you? You're real.
I'm a new chatbot they got. So Joelbot. It's Joelbot. Yeah.
Joel.
But Mark, where can people find you? Where's the best place to connect with you?
LinkedIn. I am Mark Edward Smith, because Mark Smith's very common. Mark Edward Smith. That would be the place. I work for Medtronic. Easiest thing to find. I wish I had my QR code.
It's all right. But we'll put the links for jobs in this, and then
we have our careers website.
YouTube. We're gonna have this everywhere. So
lovely.
Awesome, man. Pleasure to meet.
Good to see you, dude.
Good to see you. I'm sure I'll see you somewhere. At 3
Absolutely. Podcast number 2 as well. We'll do the sequel.
Love it, man.
All right.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you.